Tom Selleck was born on January 29, 1945 in Detroit, Michigan. He grew up mostly in Southern California. His journey to becoming a star took a long time. His early life showed the values that would later make him who he was: hard work, never giving up, staying humble, and respecting hard work. These things helped him a lot as he worked in an industry where fame comes and goes quickly and things always change. Selleck went to the University of Southern California on a basketball scholarship. At first, he thought his future would have nothing to do with Hollywood. But during those years, his tall body, tough good looks, and natural confidence got the attention of talent scouts. They encouraged him to try acting, so he started studying drama. He paid his bills by doing commercial work and small TV appearances. Those early years were full of rejection and frustration. Selleck went to endless auditions and lost many roles. Some of those roles later became famous when other actors got them. But instead of making him bitter, these failures made him stronger and more professional. He learned to be patient in an industry that often rewards people who rush. He developed a down-to-earth attitude that would later make him different from many other actors. The big break that made Tom Selleck a household name came in 1980 with the TV series Magnum P.I. He was cast as Thomas Magnum, a laid-back but very principled private investigator living in Hawaii. Selleck really connected with people. His performance mixed humor, vulnerability, intelligence, and physical action in a way that felt easy and real. The role made him a star around the world. His famous mustache became one of the most recognizable features in TV history. But Magnum P.I. worked for more than just surface reasons. Selleck gave the character emotional depth, showing a man shaped by military service, loyalty to friends, and a strong sense of right and wrong. His performance won him an Emmy Award and made him a leading man with real substance. When he was at the top of his TV fame, Selleck made a careful and sometimes risky choice. He refused to leave Magnum P.I. just to become a movie star right away. This decision famously cost him the main role in Raiders of the Lost Arkansas. That part went on to define another actor's career. But Selleck's loyalty to his contract and his respect for working with others said a lot about his character. In a time when ambition often beat out integrity, he showed that success didn't require giving up your principles. This choice changed the path of his film career, but it made people in the industry respect him even more. When he did move more into film, Tom Selleck proved he could do many different things. He showed romantic charm and funny timing in 3 Men and a Baby. He showed dramatic intensity in In and Out. He showed emotional control in films like Mr. Baseball, where he played an aging athlete dealing with cultural change and personal reinvention. Even though he was often cast as the typical American male, strong, confident, and quiet, Selleck always looked for roles that explored vulnerability beneath the surface. His performances suggested a man who knew his limits, was willing to laugh at himself, and wasn't afraid to show emotional complexity. Between 2007 and 2008, he stepped back into TV with a memorable role as A.J. Cooper on the hit series Las Vegas. The show was set in the glittering, high-stakes world of a luxury casino. The show went much deeper than flashing lights and rolling dice. It explored the intense personal and professional challenges faced by the people who kept the casino running. From security crises and internal power struggles to moral problems born of temptation and greed, his performance added a layer of seriousness and authority. It reminded audiences that beneath the glamour of the Strip was a workplace full of pressure, loyalty, and constant risk. That same year, he gave a powerful and quietly strong performance alongside Kathy Baker in the TV mystery film Jesse Stone. Sea Change, 2007. Based on the novel by Robert B. Parker, the film focused on a deeply thoughtful police chief wrestling not only with an unsolved murder, but also with his own sense of isolation, responsibility, and moral resolve. His portrayal of Jesse Stone, a man marked by loss, integrity, and a relentless pursuit of justice, connected strongly with viewers. The role was so powerful that he would go on to play the character again in multiple films. Jesse Stone became one of the most respected and lasting figures in TV crime drama. Tom Selleck's career after Magnum P.I. has been marked by a surprising range of choices. They show his willingness to experiment, adapt, and stay culturally relevant well into his later years. In 2010, he delighted audiences by stepping into the light-hearted comedy Killers, playing the character of Mr. Kornfeld. Though the role was not a leading one, Selleck's presence added a layer of warmth and familiarity to the film. It reminded viewers why his easygoing charm and commanding screen presence have lasted for decades. His performance showed that even in supporting roles, Selleck could leave a memorable impression. He blended seasoned confidence with a self-aware sense of humor that connected with both longtime fans and newer audiences. 2 years later, Selleck expanded his reach beyond film and TV by becoming the face of Coldwell Banker's national advertising campaign in 2012. The commercials focused on the emotional meaning of home ownership. This was a theme that fit naturally with Selleck's public image: trustworthy, grounded, and reassuring. His involvement gave the campaign a sense of authenticity. He spoke not just as a celebrity endorser, but as a familiar figure whose voice brought up feelings of stability and traditional values. For many viewers, seeing Selleck in these ads reinforced his image as a symbol of reliability and comfort. These were qualities that had defined his screen roles for generations. In 2016, Selleck took on another high-profile spokesperson role, this time as the pitchman for reverse mortgage lender American Advisors Group. Once again, his participation was strategic and carefully aligned with his mature, respected image. The campaign targeted older homeowners. Selleck's calm, authoritative delivery helped make a complex financial topic easier to understand. Rather than flashy salesmanship, he offered reassurance and clarity. He positioned himself as a trusted guide rather than just a celebrity face. This move showed how Selleck had successfully moved into a stage of his career where credibility and life experience were central to his appeal. Perhaps most surprising and most endearing was Selleck's unexpected musical milestone. In 2021, he made his album debut as a singer, lending his voice to the classic tune Yes Sir, That's My Baby alongside Nicholas King. The recording was captured live in 2001 during their theatrical run of A Thousand Clowns. It finally reached the public when it was released on King's album Act 1 by Club 44 Records. The track revealed a lesser-known side of Selleck: playful, relaxed, and musically confident. For fans used to his rugged screen persona, hearing him sing offered a charming look into his versatility and long-standing love for performance in all its forms. Tom Selleck's personal life, especially his marriages and role as a father, shows a quieter, more grounded side of the actor. This often stood in contrast to his larger-than-life screen persona. Tom Selleck married model Jacqueline Ray in 1971. This was at a time when his acting career was still developing and long before he became an international TV star. The marriage placed him in the role of a husband and stepfather during an important period of his adult life. Jacqueline Ray had a young son from a previous relationship named Kevin. Selleck legally adopted him and raised him as his own. This decision spoke to his sense of responsibility and commitment. He embraced fatherhood early on, even while facing the uncertainties and money problems common to struggling actors in Hollywood. During the 1970s, Selleck worked steadily but without major fame. He appeared in commercials, TV guest spots, and small film roles. Balancing these work pressures with family life was not easy. The marriage lasted through years of modest success, auditions, and career frustration. However, as the years went on, the strains of ambition, time apart, and the changing nature of both partners took their toll. By the early 1980s, Selleck's career was about to change in a big way. Magnum P.I. was about to transform him into a household name. In 1982, after more than 10 years together, Selleck and Ray divorced. Despite the end of the marriage, Selleck kept a relationship with his adopted son. He has continued to say that period of his life was an important chapter in shaping his understanding of family responsibility and maturity. 5 years later, in 1987, Tom Selleck married Jill Mack, a British actress and dancer. He met her while she was appearing in the stage musical Cats in London. Their relationship began away from the Hollywood spotlight. From the start, it was marked by a mutual desire for privacy and stability. Unlike his first marriage, which happened during years of career uncertainty, Selleck entered his second marriage as a major star. He was already famous worldwide for his work on Magnum P.I. But rather than letting fame take over his personal life, he made careful choices to protect it. He stepped away from some high-profile opportunities, limited his workload, and increasingly put his home life over constant public exposure. The couple welcomed one daughter, Hannah Margaret Selleck, in December 1988. Being a father the second time around deeply influenced Selleck's life decisions. He was determined to be a present and involved parent. He famously chose to leave Magnum P.I. at the height of its popularity so he could spend more time with his family. Selleck and Mac raised Hannah mostly away from Hollywood on their ranch in California. She grew up surrounded by animals, outdoor life, and a sense of normalcy far removed from celebrity culture. Selleck has often talked about how important it was to him that his daughter have a grounded upbringing. He emphasized values such as discipline, hard work, and privacy. At 80, Tom Selleck suddenly found himself looking back across the long path of his life and career. And in doing so, he finally chose to speak openly about one of Hollywood's most legendary figures, Steve McQueen. For decades, Selleck had mostly avoided public comparisons or commentary. This was even though his name was often mentioned alongside McQueen's as a symbol of rugged masculinity, quiet charisma, and a distinctly American screen presence. But age, reflection, and perspective have a way of loosening old silences. Selleck said that McQueen's shadow hung over an entire generation of actors who came of age in the late 1960s and 1970s. Steve McQueen wasn't just a movie star, Selleck said. He was an attitude. You didn't study him the way you studied acting teachers. You absorbed him. He described how McQueen represented a kind of raw independence that felt real rather than fake. It was a quality that could not be taught or copied. For young actors trying to find their way, McQueen set a standard that was both inspiring and intimidating. Thinking back on his own early years in Hollywood, Selleck admitted that McQueen's presence was impossible to ignore. Every casting room, every conversation, his name came up, he recalled. People weren't asking if you could act like Steve McQueen. They were asking if you had anything that felt as real as he did. Selleck explained that this comparison created pressure, but it also forced him to understand who he was as an actor. Rather than chasing McQueen's style, Selleck realized he needed to build something uniquely his own. With the benefit of looking back, Selleck spoke about McQueen's reputation for being tough and rebellious. Steve had a reputation for being difficult, but I think that was misunderstood, he said. He knew what he wanted and he knew when something felt false. In this business, that kind of honesty can make people uncomfortable. Selleck suggested that McQueen's defiance was less about ego and more about protecting his sense of truth, both on and off screen. Selleck also touched on McQueen's vulnerabilities, something rarely talked about during McQueen's lifetime. People forget how much pain he carried, Selleck noted quietly. Fame doesn't erase your past. Sometimes it just puts a spotlight on the parts you're still trying to outrun. He thought about how McQueen's early struggles shaped his intensity, and how that intensity translated into performances that still connect with people decades later. As Selleck aged, his view of McQueen softened into something closer to understanding. When you're young, you see legends as unbreakable, he said. At 80, you realize everyone was just doing the best they could with what they had. He admitted that watching McQueen's career burn so brightly and end so early served as a warning story. It reminded Selleck of the importance of balance, family, and stepping away when necessary. Selleck emphasized that his admiration for McQueen was never about copying him. I didn't want to be the next Steve McQueen, he said. There already was one, and he did it perfectly. Instead, Selleck focused on lasting a long time. He chose projects that allowed him to grow older with dignity rather than chase youth. In that sense, he believes their legacies go well together rather than compete with each other. In breaking his silence, Selleck made it clear that McQueen remains a towering figure in his memory, not as a rival, but as a benchmark. Steve showed us what being real looked like, Selleck said. The rest of us just tried to be honest in our own way. At 80, Sellec's words carry the weight of experience, respect, and gratitude. They transform long-held silence into a thoughtful tribute to a man who helped define an era of American cinema.